Live from the Lavaredo Ultra Trail, this is La Sportiva Radio.
He has it. He feels the music too. This is awesome. We are back here in Cortina at the Lavaredo Ultra Trail, and we are lucky enough to be joined by Drew Holman, winner of the 80K today.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to catch us dancing to the intro music when it fades into us one time.
It's like when you're in the elevator by yourself and the doors close and you just kind of start dancing and you're afraid it's going to open up and you're going to get caught.
Yeah, well,
y'all are bringing the vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, congrats, Drew. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Fantastic race out there.
Thank you.
It looked pretty. I would say it felt pretty brutal, but we're in air conditioning here. So but it looked pretty brutal out there. Comments on the course? It was really heating up during the day. You maybe just kind of run through how you kind of managed the conditions, knowing that it was probably going to be hot.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you all for putting on an incredible race, being sponsoring such a kind of community-centered event. Like, this has been absolutely spectacular. I've had an incredible week in Cortina, and it's one of the most beautiful places in the world to race. And so, thank you all for contributing to the sport and helping put this on. But it was there was a moment about a week ago where I was like, I think that Lavaredo might be hotter than Western States this year.
That's a good call. Good call.
The weather forecast in Auburn was looking like, pretty moderate, and it was heating up here. And so I actually came into the race just being like, I'm going to kind of cool like I do at States when I've run it. And so, we were out collecting ice around, It's a little harder to find ice in Europe than it is in North America.
We were talking about that earlier.
And
we like our ice. What can I say?
I know.
It's abundant
it's
in North
everywhere.
America.
It's at every hotel, every gas station. You can get ice anywhere. So we filled up a cooler with ice, and I was doing so had a little bit of ice when I started the race, and then just, so much of it is about trying to keep the body temperature down. Like, once you get it too high, it's really hard to bring it back. And so when I came into Chimabanque, I went full, y'all saw me in this cool new shirt that Nike's been working on, which is a heat shirt.
Yeah.
So I tossed that we had soaked in water and ice. And then I tossed on, the ice bandana, and felt a little overkill, but at the end of the day, it was just like, if it's going to get up to, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to feel good and make sure that, so much of my stomach gets tied to temperature as well. And so if I can keep things just a little bit more moderated, usually it ends up being better. So yeah, we were full the pregame to the Western States fun later today.
That's so fun. We actually talked about that. Cooling down the core, keeping the vital organs cool is a big thing to.
It's super important, like with the digestion, exactly.
Yeah, and we also had Stefano talking about nutrition and the importance of hydration, and by the time you feel thirsty, you've kind of lost about 10% of your performance already at that point. So hydration must have been another key theme for you today.
Yeah, shout out to the feed, who I'm sponsored by, who has hooked me up with everything I need, and so I was kind of similarly it's a lot more I live in Colorado, and it's a lot drier, and here it's way more humid. And so even just this week doing some, recon runs, was really feeling that humidity and was just sweating a lot more. And so from the start of the race, was just really trying to focus on, getting the fluids in. It's kind of a big stretch between the start of the 80K to Chimabanque.
Yes.
You have, it's 2.5 hours.
Sure.
And that's a lot of just, a lot of water to carry. And so I actually had a little filter, and I filled up at a stream. And,
oh, well done. Yeah.
I was really just trying to make sure that I didn't get behind on that as well. Because it was going to just get hotter and hotter throughout the day.
Super smart. Yeah, well, and it's another thing that Courtney mentioned about the humidity that she wasn't used to coming out of Colorado, and I believe that's where you're hailing from as well at the moment. So seems to be the hotbed for ultra trail running is Colorado.
But so did you did you go out beforehand since you got here a little bit early to be able to check out and scout out some points where you might be able to find some filtered water along the course? How soon before did you get here before the race, and what have you been up to?
We got in on I think last Saturday or Sunday, and so we've had 5-6 days pre-race, which has been just fabulous. Was able to go and check out the first big climb, which was great to just kind of see how like you start on this road and that's super runnable, and so kind of like seeing what that looks like was good, and then doing the steep climb up to the pass there. So I got to see that, and then I saw both directions from Paso Giao and Col Galena, and so got to see a little bit of the course. It's always like you show up in a beautiful place like this, and all you want to do is just like go run, but you're also like tapering for a race, and so trying. It's always a balance.
Patience is a virtue.
Exactly.
I suppose. Patience is a virtue.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I was chatting with Noah Williams before Team La Sportiva in third place today, and he
another Colorado kid.
Another Colorado. Yeah, exactly.
Colorado's done very well this weekend.
It's been a good weekend. It's been a good weekend.
Yeah. I was going to say he's from the USA, but let's just say he's from Colorado. Yeah. and he did mention that about wrecking the course, and he hadn't seen that part going between Paso Giao and the Forcella Giao.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought it was all downhill from Paso Giao, but it still had another climb to do there. So,
totally.
Yeah, and he said he was dying in that last section.
How about the tiny little climb coming right back into the downtown here in Cortina? Was that a gift for you?
No. Well, here's the thing. I had Dominique and I had run together for hours, and like really pushing each other. It was super, super fun to just like, he's like such a strong climber, and we were just like trading who was leading. And I think it really just like, helped us get the most out of each other, which was really always like such a special aspect of racing. And he and I had never met, and so we were spending a lot of time together. And then it was coming out of Galena. I did like full ice protocol again, and so I ended up getting like a little bit behind him, and then he was just running really well, and so I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna see him again, and I did not see him until like maybe 100 meters from town. I like catch him in the woods.
Yeah, right.
And so it was a good battle all day. Good battle all day.
Exactly.
And then you don't realize it. You're on this pavement, and then all of a sudden it's just like,
and then you're here.
Pitches up. And it's like a tough little finish, and it's starting to get really hot with the pavement. And,
Absolutely.
Definitely, and Dominic Matt from Austria coming home in second place. I think less than 2 minutes behind you. So, having him on your tail coming into town must have been a little bit scary. Because the other thing, you're now mixing in with the 120k finishes, so you might kind of not quite be aware that he's coming in right behind you either.
No, totally. And I think that it's also, there's always this moment on a descent like that where you're just like, okay, well, I guess second is it. And then you see the person and you don't expect it, and I'm like, oh, crap! Now I gotta work really hard to try to exactly because you kind of just get into a point where like I knew that Noah was a little further back.
Sure. Yes.
I thought that Dominique was 2 minutes, 3 minutes ahead, and that I wasn't actually going to catch him. And then I come around the corner and I see him, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to be a little sneaky here, try to like close this without him realizing it,
right?
And then like really put the jets on right when I like come up behind him. And that's always kind of like a switch where you're, for me at least, like kind of just coasting down this big climb, being like, okay, like second it is today, like still a great race, so fun. And then it was like, oh, we're still racing, so I've got to kind of turn it back on.
Well, that's nice to hear, because we haven't talked that much about the racing, because we talk so much about you have to manage your effort, you have to stay in control, be relaxed. But to hear you guys out there battling out there and racing, and a few tactics involved, that for me is super exciting, because it's a smart move. He doesn't realize that you're actually closing down like that, and then suddenly you're on him, and then just a little bit, a little bit more pace. And he's definitely thinking, wow, there's Drew. He's looking good. He's running faster than me. And it mentally,
it was always the best part. It was always the best part of races when you were kids, is seeing that person that was hawking down the leader from behind, and just like the anticipation of the arrival, and then if they're going to pass and stay like it's the best. From the time you're a child,
Well, it makes it exciting for us here watching as well, of course, seeing the leads change, because often we only see we see you as you go through the timing chips, and obviously there's you don't really know exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then suddenly, oh my gosh, there's been a change of lead as they go through the next checkpoint. So it's exciting to see that change throughout the day. But and what about the fact, and you kind of mentioned it, but the fact that you two were together pushing yourselves. Do you think that really helped you kind of run faster today? Like,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that my legs were feeling pretty flat early on some of the climbing, and it's just so good to be with someone where you're like, okay, well, I just gotta try to hold on, and then we would just, throughout any race that's 8 hours plus, you just have these ebbs and flows of when you feel good, and so being with somebody who's running really well means that I would lead for a couple of miles, and then he would lead for a couple of miles, and it's just it's easier to stay present and really engaged with the act at hand, and it's a little bit easier sometimes to maybe mentally check out when you're in no man's land, or kind of just stuck between groups. And so it's really fun to have that where you're at the front, you're feeling good because you're at the front, you're kind of pushing each other, there's some good healthy competition there, which is also such a fun aspect of this sport. I think that we have such a special community in trail running, and that's, I think, why most of us fall in love with the sport at some point. But it's also, the competitive nature of it is really spectacular as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess if you're kind of, you are running by yourself and you're sort of checking out mentally, if you look up at the mountains around you, that might be the inspiration, that you need just to kind of relax a little bit and go, wow, I think a lot of people come here because of where they are and the place that they're running. And is this your first time here at Lavaredo and kind of experiencing the mountains that we have here?
It is, and it's been a race that's been on the list for a long time. It unfortunately overlaps every year with Western States, which is tough, I think, because Western States is such a staple of the American calendar. And I was planning to come last year, and then one of my good friends got into the race at States, and so I had to pull out. And this year I was just I gotta come because I've heard such good things from so many friends who have been here racing. One of our closest friend, Emelise, actually won the 80K last year, and so we were, hearing all about it from her. And Cortina is just one of those beautiful places in the world.
Word of mouth, really is the best marketing.
It still works, doesn't it? Yeah. even around all of the content creation.
Drew, before we let you go, and thank you so much for giving us your time. What are your plans for the rest of the summer? Can we ask? What do you have going on? What do you think after tonight? I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself, relax a little bit, but then what will you do the rest of the summer?
Yeah, so CCC is on the calendar, so I will be back in Chamonix for that, which I'm really excited about. I ran that 2 years ago, ran UTMB last year, and then so that's really big. And then I'm getting married in September, so we got that on the calendar.
That's amazing.
And then we'll probably try to find something this fall, whether it's Cape Town or, there's a whole ton of great races in the kind of October, November
great
time frame. So we'll try to do that. Can I give a little shout out to Noah Williams?
Absolutely.
Noah Williams ran the Broken Arrow last week, the 46K, which was one of the most competitive
I
50K.
Know, because I was there.
You were. That race was stacked. And I think it speaks to American ultra running right now, where we're really having a moment, which is cool. And, he took fourth in a world-class field. And then for him to be brave to come out to Cortina and toe the line and put together an incredible day here is really special to see. And, invest now. He's going to be one of the good ones.
Yeah, no, we're so super thrilled to have him on the team, and to see that result last Saturday in Olympic Valley at the Broken Arrow 46K, which was a qualification race for the World Mountain and Trail Running team. There were 2 qualification races that weekend, and he did them both actually. But in the 46K, and I don't think it's a sure thing yet, but we'd love to see him in September at the World Mountain Champs too. So.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Look, thanks so much, Drew.
Drew, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you all.
Congrats for your time.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with the winner of the women's 80K.
Oh, except we got one more thing to do with Drew, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to take a photo while we're taking our break.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Thanks all.